Hey there everybody, and welcome to another episode of Gideon's Tactical. We are looking today at the Benchmade 527 Mini Presidio Ultra is what we're looking at. Mini Presidio 527. If you just type in Benchmade 527, you'll be able to find this blade. This is an awesome little EDC blade that I think, in my opinion, is a little bit better than the Mini Griptilian for EDC tasks if you're looking for a smaller 3-inch blade. So let's go ahead and I'll give you some quick specs and we'll hop on into it. You're looking at a blade length of 2.97, so just a hair under 3 inches. You got a hollow grind. This particular model is made with 440C steel. Rockwell hardness 58 to 60. You have a handle thickness of 0.5, so half an inch thick. Tip up pocket clip, lanyard hole, axis lock, thumb studs, hollow grind. The handle is made out of, I'm hoping I'm going to do this right, Norley GTX handle. So it's a type of it's a type of plastic, machine plastic, but it feels almost more like micarta, which is pretty crazy. It feels really good in your hand. So, and then the weight is 3.1 ounces. So those are the basic specs for you. Oh, and overall length is 7.12, so just over 7 inches overall. All right, so those are the basic specs for you. Let's go ahead and jump on into it. We got a drop point design here. I love the design of this blade. It is just ideal for so many different tasks, regardless if it's on a large fixed blade or, you know, it's on a type of fighting knife or pocket knife. Just this type of aggressive drop point, almost a spear point type of design is just amazing. I love it. Very sharp hollow grind, which is just going to cut. This thing just slices through paper, through packaging, through wood. It just slices. The tip is a little thin. You can see there it's definitely more of a delicate tip. But for a 3-inch blade, you better not be doing any sort of pry barring or, you know, this isn't a tactical knife or anything like that. So you want a more delicate tip to be able to do your EDC tasks of getting out splinters or opening packaging really well. So it's going to do that with no problem, and just razor thin blade. It is made out of the 440C, which is a step below, say, the full-size Griptilian 154CM steel that most Benchmades are made out of. It is a little bit less quality than that. It has great rust resistance, though. You're not going to worry about it rusting. And it just means that it's going to take a little less time to resharpen when it does come to resharpen, but it's going to hold that edge really well. This one is 58 to 60 Rockwell hardness. This one's 59 to 61. So just a little bit higher, but this one is just going to be a little easier to resharpen than, say, that full-size Griptilian that I just showed you. So the 440C, but I have no problems with that 440C, and I'm actually looking forward to it. It's actually the very first knife I've had in 440C steel. I just know from borrowing other friends' knives that with 440C and working with it and some other different knives and reading up about it, it's not that difficult to resharpen, but it is going to hold an edge for a really good amount of time. So the blade shape and design is just awesome. Got the stonewash finish. You can get it in tanto form. You can get it in blacked out form. You can get it in serrated form. This is the plain edge, which I love. Good thick blade, though, all the way down to that tip, and just a really piercing tip. You can see that right there. Excuse me, got a little bit, it's cold outside. Got a little bit of runny nose. Just walked Tommy the trail dog. So, going on to now the deployment. We got thumb studs that are equal size on either side. Good, pronounced, far enough away from the handle that it's very easy to purchase without any problem, and boom, whips out every time, regardless if it's left or right-handed. It's just fun. You can do it all day long. You can see that, man, just boom. The deployment is fantastic, superb. The thumb studs are exactly the same as any Griptilian and most other Benchmades. You can see there that there is some ridging on it, so it's going to grab your thumb, and if you're playing with it over and over again for 5-10 minutes, you know, whipping it open and close, you are going to chew up your thumb a little bit, but that just means it's going to be very easy to deploy, and you're not going to accidentally slip off when you need to actually deploy it. But both sides equally, so if you're lefty, you're not going to see any difference in your deployment ability. Let's go ahead and go on to taking it in. This is what's awesome. I love axis locks. You can just hold this baby back, you just pull it back, and boom, whip it right back into place. You're good to go. Or you can just close it, move it, boom, however you want to do it. But man, just sitting there and just whipping it open and close all day long, talking to your buddies, watching a movie, whatever. I mean, it's just awesome. So much fun. The axis lock is amazing. Going on to the Lockup, you can see there if you've ever seen and used an axis lock before, it just moves. It's this little pillar, moves back and forth. And when it's moved out of the way, boom, then the blade can swing. When it's locked in place, it will not move. No play up and down, a little bit side to side, but that's with most axis locks that I've seen by Benchmade. There is slight blade play left and right. Nothing crazy. Nowhere near as much as say like a SOG knife or some of those other open assisted knives, a Boker, Kalashnikov. You know, those definitely have a lot more blade play left and right. And if you wanted to, you could tighten it up without any problem with an Allen wrench there. No worries if you did want to tighten it up just slightly. But the Lockup is superb, and I love that axis lock. Very strong. You're not worried about accidentally, disengaging it while you're cutting and using it. See, because my hand is completely away from either side of those axis locks. Then you can either do it one-handed, move it out that way, or do it dual, boom, whip it into place. Just one of the funnest blades to open and close, these axis locks by Benchmade. They know what they're doing with that. You got bronze bushings in there, so it's got a longevity. They're not nylon. These are going to stay strong without any loosening up the blade over a long period of time. So I really dig that. Going on to the Ergonomics. I like this blade a lot more than the Mini Griptilian. You've seen the Mini Griptilian on this channel. I didn't really dig it for the main reason that the handle is so small. It's so thin, so tiny. And if you're looking for a really small EDC blade, hey, then that's a perfect knife for you. This is the same thickness as a full-size Griptilian. This is my full-size Griptilian here. The handle is exactly the same thickness, 1/2 inch. So it is a little thick, but what's awesome is it's a lot shorter, let me just show you here, than the full size. You can see that it's definitely almost an inch shorter, I would say. 1/2 inch for sure, shorter than the full-size Griptilian. So you're getting the fullness of a Griptilian full size in your hand, but it's shorter, so it's not going to take up as much space and real estate in your pocket if you got other stuff in your pocket, or you're carrying your CCW that day, or whatever. I mean, it's just smaller, but it's going to fill out your hand a little bit better and way easier and feels more comfortable in my hand. The Ergonomics itself, with that, it's got a nice thumb ramp here. Really no jimping though. There's a little bit of aesthetic inside those liners there. But aside from that, I mean, it feels good in my hand. I got that thumb ramp so I can do, my slashing, or if I did have to stab something into a packaging, it would do that. It could ride up. There aren't really any jimping, but it is nice to have that little thumb ramp and finger choil groove down here. It feels very comfortable in my large size hands. I wear large size gloves. And then if I need to, I can choke up very easily if I'm doing more like whittling, if I'm at the campsite, or just need more control in my cutting and slicing. I can get up there on it, and this ridge right here, this kind of hilt, acts as a nice comfort for my thumb right there, so that I got good control over this blade. And it's nice and thick there, so I can really rest my hand on there. So I like the ergonomics and design of this particular handle. Going on to the traction of it, this is way better as well. I even like it better than these kind of Zytel handles that the Benchmade Griptilian and Mini Griptilian have. This is much better. You can see here that it's got really good ridging, grooving, machining on the handles. Feels like I said earlier, micarta. It's not micarta, it's a type of plastic, but it just feels really comfortable in your hand. As far as I can tell, it is not destroying my pocket either when I pull it out, even though it does have really good texturing on the sides with those kind of machine grooves all along. It feels very comfortable, nice and rounded everywhere. Large lanyard hole, so you can go ahead and put a nice lanyard on there if you want. Left or right pocket clip rides very deep. I like that. It's going to ride very deep in your pocket. Very generic Benchmade pocket clip, very strong. No complaints there. 3.1 ounces is definitely heavier than, say, the Mini Griptilian. The Mini Griptilian, I believe, is 2.6. This is 3.1. And just kind of give you some perspective, weight-wise, this full-size Griptilian, which you can see is definitely larger. This one weighs 3.25 ounces. This weighs 3.1. So very similar in weight, but much smaller knife. So it definitely is like a little heftier, quote unquote, than say the Mini Griptilian, or maybe if you're looking at Spyderco, Spyderco Delica. This is definitely going to be a little bit heavier, thicker blade, but you're going to get a lot more fullness in your hand than say some other models in this small EDC, purely EDC blade size and design. So those are the basic specs. You got machined out liners too. You can see that right in there. That's really nice as well. Zytel spacer back there. Overall, totally digging it, and I would highly recommend it over a mini Griptilian. If you have large size glove hands or extra large, get this instead of the mini Griptilian. You are going to probably pay probably about $5 to $10 more than a mini Griptilian. This goes for anywhere between 65 and 85 bucks is what you're going to be looking at. This Presidio, mini Presidio, Benchmade 527. You can just search Benchmade 527 on any sort of website, Google, eBay, Amazon, and you'll be able to find this, and it'll be anywhere between 65 and 85 bucks, just depending on the model, design, and time of day basically you're looking. So awesome blade, highly recommended for EDC use. Thanks for watching. Stay equipped, stay prepared, and I will definitely see you out there.